Good morning, everybody. Hello, good morning. I'm Miss Corn. And today, thank you so much for coming. I'm over here talking about teaching, and I would like to start with a quote or like a little kind of a story. Anyway, it's from there's some feedback on some things. Anyway, it's from this book called Teachers. The Struggle is Real. And when your teacher deserves more than an apple, and is by bored teachers. So I guess they compiled a few quotes and things. I kind of marked some pages I might be referring through throughout this broadcast. And I would like to read one of them on chapter 11, and it's called How Much We Love These Kids. It's all about the kids. Teaching is always all about the kids. We deal with all the sweat, tears, stress, headaches, and mental breakdowns because we believe we serve a purpose much larger than us. And if you probably can relate. Teaching is not for everyone. It takes a special type of person to handle the utter chaos and misery that comes with the job. But we do it for the difference we make in so many children's lives every single day. And even when they push us to our very limits, to the point where we lose our minds, our social lives, and any youth laughing us, we find a way to laugh about it, vent about it, and keep going. And this brings us to this broadcast, which is, we're on vacation. And if you're here joining me, or if you're watching this broadcast later, you're a terrific teacher. Because, come on, guys, we're on vacation right now. Okay? This is vacation. And here we are. Why? Because we care about the kids and we want to be ready. And for me, as I'm preparing to know what I'm going to talk about today, it really has helped me a lot because I was a little bit anxious of how, how's this year going to start? What am I going to do starting online? Because chances are very big that we're going to start online. Things can change at any moment, you know that, right? This is teaching. And if you're a teacher, you know that you go to school one day thinking, hey, today the day is going to go like this. I have my plans. And throughout that day, you don't even know what's going on because it's like phone calls, principal comes in, parent goes in, kid, nose bleeds. I don't know. Everything happens. So we're teachers. We're used to a lot of, changing things and moving things around and reorganizing. But, this is kind of like on the moment we're like making those decisions. For me, when I know, okay, this is going to start in a certain way and these decisions have to be made, then it's a little bit, it makes me a little anxious. So I must say that I was a little anxious. But then as I prepare this, what I'm going to talk to you today, I kind of calm down because I feel like I have like a skeleton of a plan or some kind of plan. And today, hopefully, when I, interact with you, my plan's going to get stronger. Maybe we'll get some ideas because this is the point here. So let me share the purpose of this broadcast. So the purpose of this broadcast is teamwork, because teamwork makes the dream work. The more we collaborate, better we're going to be, more ideas. I learned so much from teachers. It's unbelievable. And hopefully, when you hear other people talking, you will get more ideas. I know that the last broadcast brought some ideas. I got great feedback from teachers saying that they learn a few things or they start thinking about other things. So I can already see that this has impacted, and I'm really happy about it. And I know for me that it has impacted me a lot. Since the last broadcast where we met Deborah, she agreed to come and teach us more about the class dojo, which I would like to know. I just started at the very end of the year tapping into class dojo. I don't know if you heard the last broadcast, but anyway, I'm just will tell you again that I started communicating with my parents via text messages because I didn't know anything about the other apps and things. And but towards the end, I started using Class Dojo, and I would like to know more about those features. I would like to also know more about the Google Classroom, which Deborah agreed also to come back on Thursday to tell us about, give us a tour. And I know there's a lot of things in the internet. You can Google and you probably can see it. But to me, it's different when a friend is showing me. I'm a people's person. So when things don't have this kind of like a person aspect to it, it's very hard for me to learn, because it becomes like this person teaching me. I don't know the person. I mean, it's very hard. So I like to learn from my friends. I like to learn from other teachers. So she's gracious enough. She'll be coming on Wednesday and Thursday. I'll send links about it when I create those links. I know that tomorrow there's also a UTLA meeting. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm not sure what's going to be discussed in the meeting, but hopefully we're going to learn more directions and things. Okay, so basically the purpose of this broadcast, again, is teamwork, is for us to learn and reflect, because I believe that in order to, you can't change what you don't acknowledge. That's Dr. Phil. So we just finished our online teaching. So it's very fresh in our minds. It's a great time to talk about it. Some people don't want to talk now. They want to just relax, decompress. People are different in that way. I like to, when it's fresh in my mind, talk about it, make up the plan, and then I just gonna forget about it for the rest of the summer and get back, a few weeks before we start school, bringing my plans back and kind of, getting back to it. That's how I operate. Anyway, so we're gonna learn and reflect here together, and I want to be prepared to teach. So that's pretty much the purpose of this broadcast. And as everything, there are norms, right? Just like in our classroom, I'm going to set the norms, and the norms are that we're here to share, to learn together, and care. That's it. So be respectful, be patient. Not everybody is in the same place that you are. Some people are still learning technology. Some people don't know many things. It's just like kids in the class, where people were in different levels. We have different gifts. We have different capacities and abilities, and being patient is always great. And be supportive. It's good to know that somebody's there for you. And number 2, we're going to keep it positive. As much as possible, we're going to keep this positive. We're going to, move on with, it's kind of like a duck. I just read this another day. You act like a duck, on the top of the surface is all very calm. And on the bottom, you're like, have your feet like all frantic. That's pretty much it. We're going to, keep it calm, keep it positive, and we're going to try to find solutions and inspiration. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So let me kind of get back over here on the chat, see who's here, and say hello to people. And then I'm going to tell you kind of like what I gather on the getting ready. Shayna Sampe, good morning. Happy to be here. Thank you so much for being here. Lily Compatangela, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate. Heart. All right, DJ Jerry from Starlight Music is here, always supporting, the most supportive. Shayna teaches kindergarten. That's great. Oh, we need to learn. We learn in kindergarten, right? It's a lot. Cheryl Huffy. I'm sorry if I'm messing up your name. I'm so sorry. I really apologize. From ETK. Yay, ETK power. Oh, no, my phone. Let's see what else we got. So far, that's people that are coming to the chat. Some people might just be wanting to watch and not participate. So let me talk about the participation here, okay? This is teamwork like we're talking about. I'm going to talk a little bit. If you like to come up on the screen, I can send you a link on the chat. You just click on the link, and then you come to StreamYard, and you can share the screen with me. You can discuss things with me, which would be great. Again, that personal, thing there is really good. If you don't want to, some people are shy, maybe some people are not ready for all that, that's fine too. You can talk on the chat. If you want to call somebody's attention and you're answering them, if the chat gets to be busy, which I don't know if it will or not, you just put the @ and their name, and then it highlights their name for them, so they know, oh, this person is talking to me. So it makes it easy for them to find, your comments on the chat. You're welcome to talk to each other on the chat. And again, if you'd like to come on the screen, you just say, Miss Corn, I'd like to come up a little bit. And you can come up just for a little bit, just to say a quick hello, share something. If something that I say, applies to you or, brings you any thought, you're welcome to come here and share. And also, if people are watching on the playback of this, there's also a community on my chat. If you go to my YouTube page, there's something called community. On the community, I posted this particular broadcast. So if something comes up in mind and you like to share there, you're welcome to share your ideas on the community, and then we can also talk on the community, so you don't have to come back into this broadcast. There's also comments that can be made under this broadcast, but I think the community might be a better place to us to chat there if you have any more ideas or any more reflections about what I said, anything you'd like to put. And just remember, keep it positive. I'm learning. I'm just learning, and I'm just trying to do something, to help myself, help other teachers. Last time we had teachers from all over the world here, in the chat. Then my, YouTube channel goes to many places. Maybe they can watch, maybe they can learn from us. And I think that's really great. I'm going to look at the chat one more time, and then I'm going to tell you my ideas for starting the new year. Okay. So we got people from Alaska. Yay. Hello. Cook Song, my Anchorage, Alaska. Welcome. And thank you for the thumbs up. If you can put a thumbs up on the live, that helps my channel. Just if you want to, you don't have to. Okay, anyway, here we go. So this is what I gather myself on this teaching, that there are 6 very important things. Even when we're in the classroom, physical place or online, those 6 things, it's kind of like 6 areas that I think are important that I like to touch upon. And again, if you have other areas you would like to, collaborate, come up, talk more, all open for it. This is just my gathering on this. So there are the procedures, the routines, the rules, the feedback, assessment, and praise and fun. Okay, I'm going to briefly talk about a few of those and then see how we're going to incorporate this on the online. So procedures, what are the procedures? How things are done, how you expect things to be done in the classroom is very, it's pretty easy. Kids are there and you're telling them, okay, this is how we're going to line up. This is how we're going to move here and there. This is how you go to the centers. This is how you, transition to classes if you're, in a higher grade. And again, I'm kind of talking with, the early childhood in mind, because that's where I've been spending most of my time. If I have middle school teachers here or high school teachers, they would like to, again, add to the conversation. You're welcome to help me out, because I haven't done middle school or high school. So I can only imagine, how it would be. But I'm sure there are procedures on, switching classes and books, what kind of books and homework and all that. Then there are the routines. Okay, what do you do first thing when you get to the classroom? Then what do you do? How do you break? How do you dismiss the children? So those are the routines that are very important. And then there are the rules. Yes, there are rules. And in my classroom, I teach TK. So I have the little guys, 4 or 5-year-olds, and my rules are pretty simple. Classroom rules: be safe, follow directions, be a good friend. And these 3 rules kind of encompassed everything. It's kind of like the 3 B's. And, kids were not doing very well. I'm like, are you following directions? and they were like, maybe not. So that was really cool, and that was very simple, because I was keeping very simple. But I'm sure, all grades have their rules, and you're like always putting it in the, the positive spin on the rules. Not like, don't do that. No, you're just like, okay, be a good friend, be respectful, be nice, be kind, all that good stuff that Anyway, the feedback. Feedback is really important, because children are doing work and they want to know, am I doing it right or not? Just like us, if you took the Future Leaders course and you're putting your little problem of practice and making your PowerPoint, you're like, am I going it right? How is it going? And then the moderator put a little comment there, like, oh yeah, he's reading. Oh, that's great. I'm going in the right track. Or like, oh, maybe I need to put that. So feedback is super important. So in classroom, of course, on their work, you're right there with them. You're looking at what they're doing. You're like giving the feedback. Now, in a little bit, we're going to talk a little bit about this feedback online. And so that is really important, the feedback on the work, written work, or, when they're speaking, whatever, the feedback in general is very important. And then there are the assessments. Yes, it's important to assess, like, how are the kids at the beginning? And I'm sorry, there's some rustling my cat. I have a cat that loves to get in the broadcast. Anyway, so how the assessments, like, how are they doing? So it's good to have a pre-assessment, like when they first come into your class, like, okay, what do you know? And it's not to be judgmental or anything. It's just to know where are you right now, so I know where I'm going to be taking you, right? And you know that there's differentiated learning. There are kids that know that they need a lot of remediation, so it's good to know where they are. There are kids that already come, even to ETK, they're reading, and you're like, oh, that's terrific. How are they going to feel when I'm going, okay, this is letter A. They're going to get bored. So what am I doing with this child, right? So it's very important to know where everybody is, because you need to know where you are to know where you're going. That's my personal opinion. Anyway, so then the assessment. So there's the pre-assessment, there is the post-assessment, the end of the year assessment, and there is the ones that you do to kind of like I am already forgetting my words, throughout, the progress assessment, that how are they progressing to what you're teaching. And then there's number 6, which I call the praise and fun. Okay, so you know that people, they are moved by 2 things, either pain or pleasure. So of course there's no pain in the classroom. There's absolutely, we're not going to do any of that, even if you're physically there or online. So basically there's the fun. So the way I see this is that the kids need to know what's going to be the fun that's going to motivate me. Okay, because you don't want to be doing any of this, singling people out, making them feel bad, because when you feel bad, you're not going to learn anything, and you're just going to resent. The kid's going to resent the teacher, going to resent the class, resent the experience, and that's the end of learning right there. So in order to motivate them, my opinion is you need to really show the fun. So for my students, they knew that there was going to be some fun things happening. There were going to be, popcorn parties, or we're going to be doing this and that. So we needed to collaborate and work together so we could, accomplish the curriculum in order to have the fun. But if they don't know what the fun is, it's like, why do I do that? Some kids, they're already motivated. They love to learn. Some kids, it's almost like you have to show them, that there is some fun, and what's the purpose of all this and all that. It needs a little more motivating. So the fun is super important. And the praise, because I think that everybody likes to be praised. They like to feel that, you care, that you think they're special. I think it goes in any age, that kind of goes. All right. So let me see. Anybody on the chat, any thing about what I said so far? That was a lot. And now I'm going to go into each part and say, some ideas for how we're going to do this online. So let me kind of see here. People are pretty quiet on the chat, so I'm going to continue. And again, you know what I mean? Any input you have here, it's great. Please, you know what I mean? I'm not preaching. I don't want to feel like I'm preaching you and teaching you something, because you're already a teacher. Whatever I'm saying, you're very familiar with all this. So we're just kind of chatting about all this. All right. So number 1, when we're online. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of thinking about my class and what do I do when I'm physically there, and trying to transfer that into this online experience. And again, we might start the year physically in the building. There might be some modifications if we go in the building. Excuse me. Because, it doesn't feel like August, things are going to change as much as we go back to exactly the way things were. So anyway, if there are some modifications, if I go into the building, the only thing I'm thinking about is that, there's a lot of sharing in ETK with crayons and pencils and markers and scissors, that each kid will have to have their little compartment thing where they have their scissors, their crayons, their whatever it is that we use. So it's going to be more like ETK is usually more of a share for all. And it's going to be more like, in a sense, like a kindergarten, first grade, when kids have their own little things and not so much sharing. I'm probably going to have like maybe a bin of blocks or puzzles or something that they do for, the week or the days. I don't know, something that it's just that child will be playing with those materials, because if we go in, we're probably not going to be able to be sharing so many things. We're going to disinfect it. Anyway, it's going to be a whole new thing, but I'm just thinking that will be more like just planning a lot of this, this is what you will have for this week, and then I disinfect everything, and then switch it for another week or something like that. So that's kind of like when I'm wrapping my mind around some more of this, you know what I mean? We're going to be like in an area of the room, because right now in ETK, I don't have like one area for each child. You know, we all share big tables. There's not assigned seating. There's some carpet seating, but they're very close to each other, which I don't think is going to be happening if we go back there. So those are the things I'm kind of thinking about, like how I'm going to have them have more of like a personal space inside this, and then still be able to, I guess they're going to be doing parallel play instead of, you know, really going. Or anyway, this is a little bit off because I don't even know if we're going to be there. But if we are, I'm already wrapping myself on more of these containers, individual things, whatever. Okay, so what I'm going to address right now is mostly like the online. Let's say we're going to start really online from the get-go, mostly. In any case, it's going to have some online aspects to this. I can imagine being, you know, the way we were, you know, 6 some hours just in the physical building. So, all right, so starting on the online, then we're going to need to communicate with parents. So what I'm thinking about doing, what I did last year was, since we, you know, I mean, on a Friday we were at school, on a Monday we're not at school anymore. We're like a week that we're assessing the situation, and then suddenly we figure out, okay, we're going to be home. We're not coming back to the school for a month or so. What I did at the last year is I went into, my sis got people's phone numbers, and I mentioned that, and then I put it on my phone and I texted everybody, and I said, hey, this is Miss Korn, I want to reach out to your kids. And that was before we were talked about Zoom and all. I had a friend that used to do Zoom, and I was just like, I need to see my kids. I'm going to start this Zoom. I don't even know, you know, if I can do it. I just want to see the kids and say hello with the parents, of course, next to them, right? So I did that, and I had a text in my phone, and then I put their names, and I would say, student Johnny, student Mary, student that. So everybody was student something, so it was easier for me to find them. So when I needed to make a particular message, I would just say student, and then all my students would come down on my phone, and I could, you know, send texts individually to the parents or something like that. And then later on, I found out that there's a special number that you can use that is not your personal number. But see, I had a very good contact with my parents, so I was not concerned about having my number. And they do have, all of them have my telephone number. I haven't heard from them. They don't keep calling me. They were so respectful of my office hours. They're amazing parents. I mean, you could not ask for better parents than I had this year, really. Anyway, so I did that. But I know that this is not professional, you know, and that's why I'm learning Class Dojo and trying to see how I'm going to do with Class Dojo or Google Classroom. I'm going to choose, after I hear Deborah do her speech on Wednesday, Class Dojo, Thursday, Google Classroom, and then I'm going to decide which way I go. So whatever way I decide to go, I'm going to get their emails. I'm going to email them before school starts, the parents, and I'm going to tell them that I'm going to do an orientation. So the first week of school, you know how the first week you set rules and routines and things like that? I'm probably going to be doing Zoom with parents and doing a lot of this orientation type thing, where I call the parents and I explain, probably going to have a whole group where I'm going to explain, you know, all right, we're going to do Zoom. This year I did Zoom every single day. I did it from Monday through Friday, from an hour, 10 minutes. I loved it. But I noticed that sometimes on Fridays, I did have most of my kids. I had 15 students. I had 2 days that I had my complete class, all 15. The other days I was missing 1 or 2. Different students would miss, and I had some that came every single day and just, you know, I mean, the parents said that they were looking forward to the Zoom classes, like, you know, it's like that was the big event of the day. So, but I don't know, because I'm thinking, you know, some kids were using their cell from the parents, because, you know, ETK didn't get the iPads, they didn't get the technology. So the parents had to come up with their own technology, and some were using the phones and all that. And then I felt like, wow, you know, this parent has to let this phone be used for, you know, over an hour every day. So it was a lot. So I don't know if I'm going to do every day next year. I might do 4 days a week, and then have 1 day where I send other things home. So besides doing the Zoom this year, what I did is I sent videos. I made some videos on my channel because I had one kid that was starting to read. And then he was reading books that was, you know, really difficult and had, you know, all sorts of things in that book. And I'm like, okay, let's show him how to blend. Let's show him this. So I start doing videos with my puppet, which I will continue to do. I'm gonna, now this summer, I'm probably gonna be making more videos with my puppet. I brought other puppets home. So that would be some of the lessons I'm also gonna send home to reinforce. Is this lesson about colors and numbers or different things? I might be sending these lessons instead of doing Zoom that day, and I will ask them to watch this lesson. So that was something else that I did. And then I also send paper pencil work. My school was sending packets, so I sent twice and have all the letters, the colors, the numbers, so all that. And I hope to send it to, because the kids, it's good for them to get the pencil grip and start coloring and getting their muscle, fine muscle control. So I want to still send some paper pencil, and I cannot expect the parents to go print all the stuff if I email them the PDFs. I can't expect them to have a printer and be able to do all that. So hopefully I'm going to continue doing that. So that's the stuff I'm going to be telling the parents, when we're going to have Zoom, and then what packets I'm going to send, how I'm going to post things on Class Dojo or Google Classroom or whatever platform I'm using, how often. I'm going to talk a lot about reading books, because I had a big reading campaign going in my classroom when we went out. Suddenly I noticed, oh my gosh, what's going on with the reading campaign? So I learned how to do this classroom with Bitmoji. Bitmoji is like a cartoon of yourself. And I have a Bitmoji group on Facebook. I think I mentioned that. And then they make these little classrooms, and then you put the books, or you put whatever you like with links. And then when the child clicks on this link, it goes to that. So if you'd like to learn how to do it, I have a tutorial on my channel, pretty simple, because trust me, I don't know anything about technology. So if I can do it, you'll be able to do it. You can ask your students to do it. So if you had middle school or high school, I would get this kind of Bitmoji thing where they can make something, and then they can create their PowerPoint presentations. And when you click on the specific things, it would be something of them doing, which I probably gonna also do. I'm gonna link my videos into my Bitmoji classroom. So when the kids click, they're gonna go to my thing explaining this, my thing explaining that. So you could have your high school, middle school students doing something like that. They study a topic, and then they go and they present, and then in this Bitmoji thing, because they create that environment, might be something that they really gonna gravitate towards, and it's going to be a great showcase. I'm very big on big projects. So when I had second grade, I'm going to talk a little second grade, something that I did with ETK. They're too young. But one time I had this project where it was called Morning at the Museum. So each child chose a character or a person living or already deceased, like a famous artist, famous person. And then they had to research about this person. They had to do like one of those demonstration boards. They have to dress up like that person. And then we went into the auditorium. I called the whole school coming in little turns. And then this person would say, for instance, I had Vincent van Gogh. It was fabulous. This girl, then she put a beard. She got the little straw hat. She looked just like the Van Gogh from one of those self-portraits. And then she had the same clothes. Anyway, so then she's like, okay, I'm Vincent van Gogh. I live in this year. That's when I live, and then these are my artwork, and I like and she was going on and on as if she was that character. And I had Emilia Earhart, I had scientists, and each kid was somebody else, and it was so amazing because it was a great project of research, of presentation. You used a lot of skills. They had to make that board, and there was art. Anyway, I'm big on the big projects, and so again, you know what I mean? Using this classroom thing, if I had like a second grade on, or even first grade, maybe I would do something like that where they could research, present, and get them going into, like big projects. Also having a science fair. If I had older students, I would go into a science fair where they had to research this project, come and show on screen what the scientific process, all that. So I would go into like this. If I had ETK, I could do it too, but it's like they are so young that it's a lot of the parents doing it. So, and by the way, that reminds me of a quote. I'd like to read it to you now that has to do with parents doing things. Hold on. Let me kind of break here for 1 second, take a breather, and read you this if I find it, because I thought it was so cute. Hold on. Give me a sec. Oh, am I gonna find it? Okay, here we go. So again, from this book, getting this quote from this book called Teachers, The Struggle's Real, When Your Teacher Deserves More Than an Apple by Bored Teachers. Okay, it's not sponsored, I just like some quotes. So this one is like, Dear teacher, I don't understand how my son got a C on this project. I spent like 5 hours on it. Sincerely, a very concerned parent. I love that. So anyway, so parents do help with projects and things like that. So ATK, again, why am I saying that? Because it's like they're so young that it's hard for them to kind of engage on this kind of presentation process. So for them, there's always show and tell and things like that to get their oral language going. Anyway, so moving on to this. So how are we guys on the chat? Anything about any of these things I said so far? Okay, not yet. All right, very good. So that's, anyway, how did I get into this shortcut here talking about projects? I guess because I was talking about communicating with parents. So communicating with parents, having this little first meeting where I'm going to explain all the procedures, the routines I'm going to explain, the rules, how I'm going to apply the feedback, the assessments, and how we're going to have the praise and fun, right? So I'm going to explain all that to the parents. And then I'm thinking about, another thing about my Zoom is that one thing I noticed is when all the kids are on Zoom and you want to do, for instance, phonemic awareness, and you want to hear their answer. When I unmuted everybody, it was very hard because there was a lot of background sound, siblings and all that. And for me to hear them, and then if I would call one person at a time, which I did, the other, 13 kids there were getting kind of bored. So I noticed that I need some small groups too. So if I do Zoom, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to have a whole group for an hour, and then I'm going to invite maybe, depending how many kids I'm going to have in my class, but about 5, no more than 6 to stay back. So I finish the Zoom and I have a schedule, these 5 kids are going to stay back, and I'm going to just do like a small group with those students into whatever they need. So at the beginning it's going to be, generic until I know their levels, and then I'm going to be more specific groups. So these children, they need more reinforcement on this. We're going to do this. We're going to do more talking. We're going to do whatever it is, but like in a smaller group that would follow up into my Zoom class. I might do it that way, or I might take a day instead of doing a Zoom whole group to kind of break it. Okay, from, I don't know, whatever, from 10 to 10:30, I have these kids. From 10:30 to 11, I have this, and then do it like in a 2-hour increments or something in that sense. I'm still haven't decided on it, but that's one thing. Would love to know what you think about that. All right, so then what else I got? So I'm gonna invite them. And have like this parent and me class. That could be something else I could do on Zoom, is talking to parents and telling them about the kids. You know what I mean? Have this kind of like parent and me, how you can teach this, how you can teach that. Because let's be honest, the parents have to be really involved right now. Okay, especially with the little kids. It's not like they will be, that resourceful, especially at the beginning of the year. Towards the end, they were kind of resourceful, but at the beginning, they're not. So it's kind of like teaching the parents how to teach the kids, showing the parents how the kids should be logging into the program, how we're going to get that independence. Because in the physical classroom, my kids were very independent. And I know that when parents would come, for instance, for breakfast, they had the little trays, and I would set up the breakfast thing, and they had their little trays, and they would put the items, they would take it to their table, they would try to open the things. And someone like, I can't open it. I would say, okay, try it first. I'll be super happy to help you, but can you try it? Did you even try this? How you do? Whatever. So I made them be independent. And I noticed when the parent was there, the parent was always, okay, let me hold the tray. Let me open for you. Let me, I'm going to feed you. Whatever. Even if it wasn't their kids. So parents are usually, that's their babies. They don't know that we need to get them into this independence level. So I noticed also online, the same thing happened there last year, that, kids were always like relying on the parents. And then I would say, oh, can you please unmute your mic? And then the parent had to come and do it. The kid didn't know how to do it, all that. So I feel like I have to train the parents to say, okay, you teach your child how to log in, teach them how to unmute the mic, teach them how to do this, that kind of like to to tell the parent it's okay, they can be independent, because the parents always, and I know myself, I'm a parent, I feel like my son 15 is still, I treat him like a kid. It's just parents do that. And that was one thing I noticed, that the kids regressed quite a bit when they went home. I don't know if you guys noticed that too, but I noticed quite a bit that they went and they excuse me, they were more like relying on their parents, when in school they were so, quite the opposite. They wanted to do everything by themselves. Oh, I know how to do this. I know how to get into the computer lab and log myself in. And I know how to do that. So it was a total different thing. And here they were just like, Mommy, how do you do this? Mommy, I would ask a question and they were like, oh, what? What's she saying? It's like, wait a sec. But because it was so new, I didn't want to make them feel like I like it was just too new, and I didn't set the routines right away. So I felt that it was too late in the game to start changing rules. So I kind of, let them be comfortable. But this year, that's why I want to set the rules right away from the beginning. So they know what is going to be expected from the kids, from the parents, things like that. So that is the thing. So again, I'm going to tell them where my messages are going to be. I'm going to tell what apps to use, with ABC Mouse and the math, and, do some read alouds. I'm going to talk about the kids' portfolio that I'm going to want. One of these programs, I want them to have a kids' portfolio. I'm going to do the books, like I said, about this reading. I felt that the kids were not being read to, and I didn't reinforce the reading railroad program that we used to have in class. So I'm going to have something where I'm going to want, some kind of log that the parents are reading to the kids, or if the parents are putting the kids online to read alouds, which is, they don't even have to read to the kids, just, I'll select some read alouds that the kids can hear the stories, and I'll tell the parents if they could read to the kids, it would be great. So, but in my class, I was lending them books. So I don't know if they have books, if they are going to the library. So there's some things that kind of get on the way there that I'm not sure still how it's going to work. But I know in my mind that I want the kids being read every day, at least one book every day. They have to be engaged on this reading, and because, it's super important. All right. And then again, with the, it's okay. I'm sorry, my husband's asking me a question, but I won't be able to answer right now. So paper pencil to be sent home. Okay, so again, with the paper pencil sent home, when I send my packets home, and this is really cool if you have younger kids, even if you have older kids, I think that's great. What I sent with my packets was I wanted to send a dry erase board, those kind of like hard boards, but my principal wasn't too, it was going to get heavy and everything. So what I did is I got, the plastic sheets, I put a little paper in it with a cardstock, and then I send them a dry erase marker. And that to me is like, I think the most amazing supply you can ever send the kids, because in the morning, again, with the routine, I kept my routine going. I sang the good morning song. We did the calendar. And when we're doing the calendar and doing the days, I would say, okay, like we did in class, we would write the day of the, that day that we were at. And I would tell them to get their little writing board and write the number. So they were writing the number, and they love that. Writing the number, writing the letter. And you know that Zoom has a thing where you can share your screen and you can share a whiteboard. So you can write it on that whiteboard, make it, big on the screen. You write it, which is a little hard because you have to do it with your finger and not the most perfect number. And I would do it there. And sometimes I would get my own whiteboard and then show them how to do the numbers, how to do the letters, because that's a lot with ETK. But I can imagine higher grades if you ask them a question, because again, it's very hard to hear everybody screaming on Zoom or talking at one time. It's different than when you're in class and everybody's talking. So I would have a dry erase board, and when you ask a question, they write on the dry erase board and they put it on the screen. You could have them comment on the chat, but for the teacher, for me, it would be harder to look at everybody's answer on the chat. It would be much easier. They write something on a whiteboard and then they put it on the screen, and you can see already everybody's answer very quickly on the screen. So that's what I would do. And then definitely I'm going to send a whiteboard this year when when we go home. I would like to send them some crayons. I would like to send them some scissors. I would like to send them papers. I also like to send them a folder, because sometimes when I would ask for the homework, the kids didn't know where it was. You know what I mean? It's in the house because, again, they are not managing their things. You know, parents are helping manage. And that's another thing I would tell the parents, that their kids have to manage. Even if they have a backpack like they have for school, and that backpack has everything that they need, and they keep it at home with the crayons, everything is there for them. So it's easier for them to engage when I am in the class and I'm like, oh, let's draw something, get your pencil, get your crayon. Because I'm a teacher that I do have a plan, but I tend to be very into the constructivist type of things. So in the middle of a lesson, if I see something going one way, I see a kid interested in something, I will make a little parenthesis, what I call, to go explore that, because I believe that when a child is interested in something, you already have a big buy-in onto it. So sometimes I am spare of the moment, will drive my TAs nuts. It always does. And if they're watching, they know, because I would sometimes, you know what I mean? It's not like I can write my plan and I follow word by word. I have a big picture. I know my standards. I know where I'm going. But if something sparks there, I am totally into the constructivist approach of, you know, stopping for a little bit, not get shortchanged, not get out of top. It's all about teaching. It's not talking about, you know, stuff that have nothing to do with teaching, because kids love to do that. No, it's not that. It's using that teachable moment and moving. So if the kids have their backpack, getting back to the backpack with crayon, if one time we're talking about something, oh, do you want to draw that? They already have whatever it is that we need to engage on this spare of the moment ideas. Anyway, so here we go. And what else would I have? Okay, so that's that. Let me take a breather here. Anybody, any ideas on anything that's going so far? Hold on, because I think Shayna is telling me something about an assistant. So let me see. Okay, so she used show and tell, breakout rooms. I popped in each room and parents helped facilitate. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea to have breakout rooms and parents facilitating. That sounds like a really great idea. I'd love to hear more about what was discussed in the breakout room. 8 or 10 kids. Oh, that's good. Whiteboards were awesome on Zoom. Yes, that's right, Shayna. Very, very good. Shayna, do you want to come up on the screen by any chance to tell us about your breakout room, or kind of like interact with me as I go with my things? I'll put a link here for you in case you want to. Okay, you don't have to, but in case you want it, that'll be great, because then you could also you know, give some more of your ideas. So anyway, there's a link there. If you want to come up on the screen, you just click on the link, and then they tell you how to come, you know, backstage, and then I put you on the screen if you want. Okay, Shayna, if you like to do that, that'll be great. I'd love to hear about this breakout room and what were some of the things that were done in this breakout room. Anyway, so I'm going to continue here, and you can, if not, you can continue telling me on the chat. And that's a great idea to use the parents, because the parents will probably be there with the young kids. That's, you know, if they're home, they will be trying to assist, and that's great. I just don't know what's going to be if, you know, things open up a little more and parents have to go to work. Where would these kids, if they are in a childcare place, would they have a device and then be there? But, you know, that's another thing we need to plan for, because parents might be getting back to some kind of work and not be home the whole time. Kids might be interacting with a grandma or some other family member or a neighbor, and have more than one child there. I know that my Zoom lessons, I had brothers and sisters coming, because they would say, oh, you know, the teacher didn't do any Zoom, or wasn't sending much different, you know, whatever. So they would come to my Zoom and also be there with us, and they really enjoy that. So, yeah. But anyway, I don't know. All right, so what else we got? So the rules. So what I'm going to be telling the parents are some rules. And of course, you know, the online, one thing that we didn't have was behavior problems. At least I didn't have behavior problems when I was, you know, in class. So on Zoom, even less. But I like to talk about routines, because I would notice that some kids would be coming, and I would do it at 10 o'clock to give them enough time to sleep. But I noticed that some kids were very sleepy, and I could see that they were already, you know, doing that little vampire thing that my son does, changing days through nights, and the kids were things like that. So I will be talking about, some habits. Let's put the kids to bed at a certain time. They need to sleep. They're young and all that great stuff. Oh, I think I got Shayna here. So hold on. Let me bring her up. Hi, Shayna. Can you unmute your mic? You're on the screen, but your mic is muted, so we can't hear anything you're saying. Huh? I didn't mute her. No, she's muted. All right. Shane, if you could unmute your mic, that would be great. There we go.
Hi.
Hey, hello.
You know what it was? Hi. I was trying to. I'm getting feedback from the last video, so I was trying to turn that off.
Turn off. You know how the tabs? Just close the YouTube tab and just stay on the StreamYard tab.
Okay, there we go.
There we go. And let me ask you something. Are you choosing not to have your video, or you just haven't?
I'm very camera shy, and I didn't get fully dressed. How about I just take it off just to say hi? Is that fine?
Yeah, no.
I do that. Okay.
That'll be great.
Hi.
Oh, come on. Let me see your glass from behind.
Oh, you know what? This is my son's room, and I wanted to give the children a feel of being at school. So bless his heart, I took over his room for that reason, but I didn't get fully dressed. So let me turn this.
You dressed enough, you know what I mean? What are you talking about?
Okay.
Come on. This is great. This is great. Yeah, I'm in my living room. This is my living room, and my husband was on vacation. I was going to take all that stuff back to school. But what happened is I'm like, oh, yeah, I want to make some videos for the kids again, because I'm going to be sending videos throughout the year. Like, how am I going to do videos of, I don't know. I guess I'm too attached to my classroom. I'm having a really hard time letting go.
Me too.
People probably think teachers are nuts, but that's their life. I leave. It is a job, but I bring it home. I used to bring it for all this, but it's so. I guess it's the way we are. Sometimes we talk about my kids. My friends are like, "Hold a second. Are you talking about your students, or are you talking about your children? Because I don't know who these kids you're talking about." And usually, it was my students.
Yeah,
my son.
Same here.
All right. So tell me about it. You were in UTK, right?
I'm in kindergarten.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm in kindergarten, and the way that I use breakout rooms, I'll probably use it differently this upcoming school year, but on Fridays, I would bring all my students together, and we would do like a sale lesson or something. But then I would also do a breakout room just strictly for show and tell, because what I found was that when I had all of them, it was too much of a wait time. Yeah. But they all wanted to bring their cat and their dog and their this and their that. So I said, well, you know what? I'll put them in breakout rooms of like 4 to 6 kids, and then they can share. And I gave them 5 minutes, and it was just enough time for them all to share. And then we would come back and we would do, other little fun things. But to make it work for me, because I noticed they were getting tired and stuff, I would have to do an activity where they're sitting and then do something where they're standing. So we went back and forth from up, down, and that really worked to sustain their attention. I would definitely do that again. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just so I understand in my mind here. So you did Zoom for how long and how many days a week?
It would be between 30 to 40 minutes max. And I would cram as much as I could into that time. And I did it Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But what I would do is, like, on Mondays would be my literacy day. So I do 2 groups. And those were homogeneously grouped because I had to. I had kids that could read all the way to 2nd grade or beyond. And then I had those are still working on letters. So I had to split those into 2 groups. So I did 2 different Zoom meetings. And then on Wednesdays, I did math, and that was just heterogeneously grouped. And then I did 2 groups also. And then Friday, everyone came together. So
say 2 groups, you would schedule the kids, okay, from from this time to this time, this group comes in, and then
a 9 o'clock group and then a 10 o'clock group.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I did it that way. And I would have a good 15 to 20 minute window before I would start the next group. Yeah.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah. And I think what I'm going to do in this next upcoming year, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I think I'm going to record blending lessons, because I feel like that's something that they're not going to pay attention to. I tried, and they don't pay attention to on Zoom. but I'm going to do like a video similar to like what you did. And then I'll do one for writing, the writing process, because that's something else I don't feel that like they're going to pay attention to.
Mhm.
So each day I'll do like, oh, this is pre-writing. I'll do a modeling with a video so they could watch it and then work with the video and rewatch it if they need to.
Yeah, that's what I found, that some things don't work well on Zoom. Like phonemic
No.
awareness, another one that does not work well on Zoom.
Uh-huh.
We're going to be going into some phonemic awareness. It's just that it's going to be hard to take phonemic awareness because you want to hear that response. So you
Yeah.
talk to yourself. It's like, unless I get my puppet to respond, I might do that. But it's, I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
for me and for the kids to also understand, because if you're teaching them and the kids need to respond and you're doing the response that should be the kids responding, they're going to get confused too, because
Right.
unless I go
They're like, I think I'm supposed to do, but we just have to do the best that we can because, I mean, we have to make lemonades out of lemon. And I feel like some good is coming out of this, but it was mostly stress in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, it was a lot because we like to control and have some control, and this is a lot of non-control for me, because I can't control their devices, I cannot control the environment around. I want to tell
or their blanks, their looks like this. It's like, and you're wanting their feedback because you're right in class. They give us the feedback. But it felt like some of them, because their parents were there, they were looking to their parents for, validation or something. It was just like, you can talk, it's okay, but I think they're just camera shy.
Felt a lot of that my children in class, they were so talkative. And then when to the screen, they were so shy, and they they were like mostly trying to speak Spanish, which is okay, but it's just like we had already got into so much conversation in English, and they could do it, but because the parents were there, I guess they wanted the parents to understand what they were saying. They were, trying to please the parent more than interact on the lesson itself. And I think all this have to be scheduled at the beginning, telling the parents it's good that you're there, but you have to not be so there. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, like we need them to be present, but at the same time, I noticed in the beginning my parents were there more. And as they saw the children could do it, they backed away and they used that time. I would see them cleaning up in the background and to do their own thing. So I think if we start off this way, we probably will need them more in the beginning, but I think they'll taper off.
That's good. How did it go with reading? Because I think reading in kinder, first grade, that would be something about the small groups where you could see them tracking. That's if I had them, I would put them in little groups too. So I could see, okay, let me see them tracking, let me hear them reading, because that's another thing, the whole group is impossible.
Yes. You know what we did? That's why I had to group them by ability. To a sense, in class, I have 5 reading groups, but on Zoom, that would have been too much for me. So I could only do 2. So what I did was, how we use Clever, and it has, I'm not sure what ETK has, but we have those the benchmark series, and they have the little decodable books. So I would use those and I would share my screen, and then they would read along with me like that. And then I also brought it comes in a big book form. So I also brought like the big book form, home too. So that was the best, for reading. And then we did little, like I tried to do a little bit of blending. That didn't work. So we did other things where we played games, CVC words and things like that to try to bring a little bit more literacy in. So yeah, but it's definitely not the same as being, at school. And we use the whiteboards a lot. That sustained their attention, them being able to write, on the boards. And I would be like, okay, let's see if we can write the word, I don't know, dog, things like that. And then I use magnetic letters with the cookie sheets to build words, and then letter tiles. I stole my document camera from school and brought it home. And so I would use the document camera so they could see me manipulating the letters and things like that.
That is great. Yeah, very important. And I guess the styles are good. And I guess we could even make it out of construction paper or cardboard and send it.
Or bottle tops, the little white bottle tops. If you want something from your water bottles, you can use a Sharpie because you're going to throw them away anyway. And I've used those as letter tiles also. And then they don't have to recreate them.
That is great. That is great thing. And what did you use for assessments?
That was where I feel like I failed. I really do feel like I failed with assessments because they didn't want us to work with them one on one. So I was kind of like, so a lot of it came from right before we left. What we did, I kind of just used that. And I know my kids, but that's the big thing for next year is I'm like, what exactly am I going to do? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't want us to be one on one with the kids. And so I'm like, how do I do that with, do I mute the other kids? Do I? I don't know. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see.
Yeah, there's some things that need to be more aired out on that. Maybe if the
Yeah.
parents are sitting there, the only problem is the parents are there.
They tell them the answers.
Exactly, the parents gonna answer, and you're like, okay, I'm glad you know all that, but
Uh-huh.
does your son or daughter know? Yeah, but
Yeah.
so it's not gonna be super authentic. I saw some people doing like a PowerPoint kind of assessment that would
Mhm.
play or something like that. But that
Yeah.
is something where we might know. And again, we knew our kids because we were at school before, and that's how I felt.
Right.
Okay, I felt like all the education is a very different standards. We use the preschool standards and the academic,
Mhm.
a lot of the socialization, conversation, and all. So I felt that my kids had already mastered all that. So I wasn't,
Right.
and I was just trying to make them even more prepared for kindergarten with
Mhm.
how to blend and the
Yeah.
work, all that. But this year, not knowing the kids, they're gonna need
Yes.
assessment and things to guide myself.
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge that we talked about at school too, is we won't know these children coming in, and that's going to be the biggest challenge. And so one of my coworkers was like, "Well, maybe we'll get to do the hybrid and then we'll get to learn them a little bit better, but
Mhm.
who knows? I just wish we knew what we were doing so I would know how to plan." I've been trying to do little things like getting a kit together. I did math kits already because we're getting that new math program.
Oh,
Um,
really? We're
yeah,
adults.
we're adopting a new. I thought ETK was getting it too. Illustrative math or something like that. I think that's what we're getting. I thought it was a whole district thing.
Huh.
Yeah, we're getting a new science program,
I didn't
and
get.
they mentioned ETK for the science. So you could choose between FOSS and Amplify. Our school chose Amplify. So
Mm,
we're getting new math and science on top of all of this. So I would love to know what I'm doing so that I could start. I'm just going to, start with a math kit, and definitely going to do the whiteboard thing.
what's in your math kit? Maybe you want to share with us and something.
I put okay, so let me just say that I already had a lot of math manipulatives. So
Mhm.
when we adopted the last math program, I never used any of them. They were brand new, still in the boxes. So I used those, and it was math tiles. There were Unifix cubes and snap cubes. There were the attribute blocks. Um, I'm sure I'm leaving something out. But what I did was I put them all in Ziploc bags. I'll show you a little bit.
Oh yeah, thank you. I'm so
I
visual.
mean,
Look at that.
so this is some of it I took back to school already,
Uh-huh.
but this is, things like that. And I just put it for each kid because they said that they can't share anything. And those are the foam ones, so they're cheapy anyway. So it doesn't really matter that that they're like consumable basically.
Uh-huh.
So I won't need those back. I have the wooden ones at home. I mean at school.
Mm.
So I'll keep those for in class and whatever we get from the new program.
That's a great
Oh,
idea because we could have the kids and then they could again if they are home, if we do the hybrid part school part home, they
yeah.
they take it home and they bring it back to school and they have their supplies that will kind of transition with them home and school and just kind of be prepared.
Hmm.
That's what I feel. I feel like as teachers, we like again this control, and if we know,
Yeah.
okay, this is what I'm going to use. It's gonna work here. It's gonna work there. So whatever the game is, we're already ready to play. Either way. So
Hmm.
that is,
Hmm.
that is really um, very good. And as far as which one did you use? Did you use Class Dojo or Google Classroom? How did you communicate with the parent?
Oh, that's a good question. So I'm familiar with all of them. My partner uses Class Dojo. I was already using Class Shutterfly from the have you ever used Shutterfly, their class website?
Any of them, and that's why
Okay.
like
Well,
looking.
I was already using Shutterfly, which I really like. It's a free website for your classroom, and the parents can only join if you invite them with their email address. And what I liked about it is I was able to post work on there, all the children's pictures in their emails and things like that. You could post pictures and things like that. So that's what I use. So I would post I called them Zoom assignments. So I would post the Zoom assignments on Shutterfly, and they would just go there and they could click on it. It would download on their computer and they could print it out. Or if they couldn't print it out, I told them they can kind of duplicate it as best as they could, but most of them were able to print it out. So that's what I did.
Is this approved by the district, do you know? Because I know the district has been approving different things, and
as far as I know, I haven't heard anything of yay or nay about it, but we've been using it for years, so it wasn't like brand new to me. But I do know a lot of people like Dojo. Like my son's teacher uses Class Dojo, and she would post videos there and links and things like that. I used Google Classroom more so, not this school year, but the past 2 school years, because I had really high children that year, and they were able to use it a little more independently. To be honest with you, I prefer Seesaw over Google Classroom for the younger grades. I love Google Classroom for the older grades. Not that it can't work for Kinder and TK, but I just liked Seesaw a lot better because everything was done in that app. And then I liked that, for accountability purposes, the children could, their work. It's basically like an online platform where you could either assign children work, just like in Google Classroom. You can individualize it, give it to different kids. The children can take pictures of like a hard copy, and then everything posts to their online journal. So that way you're not getting an email from everyone's work. It goes strictly to their, to their journal. And then also what I liked about it is I could record directions for them. So they click on an assignment and then my voice is there telling them what they need to do. And it doesn't always have to be a paper pencil task. It could be something else, like we were doing 3-dimensional shapes. And they had to go and find some in their house, and they could do a video recording, all of this in Seesaw. And so that's it was very user friendly and the parents liked it. So I liked it over Google Classroom because it was just more user friendly, I felt, for the kids and for the parents.
Oh wow, there's so many options right there. That's like, there's this, there's that. I'm so I haven't. I mean, I'm not very tech savvy, and I haven't used any of this in the past. So to me, so I just kind of got somebody that would talk about, Class Dojo and the Google Classroom. Now maybe might be something else that I would love to hear, because there's
lots of videos on YouTube about it. That's where I learned about it, was from YouTube, from teachers.
Yeah, I have to kind of tap into some of that. So next year, which one do you think you going to opt to?
Oh, Seesaw by far.
And
I will definitely be using Shutterfly again, but I could see why someone would like Dojo too. But I just happened to like Seesaw. I felt like it had a little bit more of what I wanted. And of course, I'll use Zoom again. Zoom and Loom. So Loom is good. It's like Screencastify. So if you want to record something, a tutorial for the parents, and it's free, that's why I chose it. And you get a little bit longer of time on Loom than you do on Screencastify. So those are the ones I'm going to use. I don't want to give them too many, so I don't want to overwhelm them.
So Loom would be like if you're recording a video and you send the parents the link. Is that what
exactly?
That either. I'm feeling like, oh my God,
yes. I learned all this stuff from the upper grade teachers. The 3rd through 5th grade teachers, they were using Google Classroom. They were using all these things. And I was like, well, I popped into one of their Zoom meetings and just quietly and watched what they were doing. And then I went on YouTube and found other teachers that were doing it. That's how I found you. I was watching it.
Yes, that's good. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow's UTLA meeting to see, what programs would be approved and not, because sometimes if you get invested in a program and find out that you can't use it, it's so, it's disheartening because you're like, oh, I'm investing my time, I'm learning about it. Now I get used to it. You tell me I can't do it, then I'm going to be upset. So I'm trying to, right now I'm opening my mind to learning about the different features and then wrap my mind what exactly I'm going to do and which one will,
Yeah. I think the district really, because they purchased Schoology, I think they really want us to use that one. But to be honest with you, for younger parents and younger children and their parents, it is not very user friendly. And the teachers who chose to use it, they got lots of emails from parents asking for help, and they were troubleshooting all day. So I learned from them that I was in survival mode and I wasn't going to use Schoology because I just felt like even for me, it's not that easy to navigate. No disrespect to Schoology, but I'm just, this was all we all, tackled this, and I just had to do what was best for my sanity.
Yeah.
And Schoology wasn't it.
It's very difficult. You know what I mean? Especially for me that I'm not very good at technology and to go and try to troubleshoot when I don't even know.
Exactly.
I don't think so. I need something simple and
check out Seesaw. It's very, very simple, and there are even assignments already created by other teachers in there that you don't even have to create. And you can just click on it and assign it to kids. Or even if you don't want to use it for that purpose, you can just have them take a picture of their work or record something that they learned. My kids loved recording videos for me,
That's good.
So,
to make them involved too, because I think that's what we're trying to get is this children ready for the
next
and them, interacting and doing it instead of
They got really into recording videos for me. I mean, they would say things like comment, and subscribe if you like my video. They would say that to me, and it wasn't even a YouTube video. It was just done in Seesaw.
Say that. I'm going to make a parenthesis, but they ask children, what do you want to do when you grow up? And, in the past, they would say, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a policeman. Now,
YouTubers.
Yeah, YouTuber.
Yes, they say YouTubers now. Or gamers. Or they say gamers now.
Yes, that's the, and you know what? That is, in computer technology, that's where it's at, and you can see that we're really heading to it. Let's see what else I got. Anything else like that too? How would you be praising the kids, or did you do some? I heard some people doing like in class dojo, like giving points to different things, and how was that?
You know what? I gave them a lot of verbal praise, and then I had these pom poms. So I would do my pom poms for them. And they really like that. And then I would tell them, of course, to kiss their brains. So they like that. That was pretty much as far as praise went. I didn't do points like with Class Dojo or anything like that. But, and I would blow them kisses.
My kids used to love the "I love you." I mean,
that's cute.
We would end it every day, and then when I was singing the "Goodbye, everybody," I had one. I was always going like that, kind of like, "You don't want me to forget," the "I love you" thing. So cute, and it's really tough. I just think about the kids and how hard it is for them to understand what's going on and have a perspective on this, and how much they need to play and go into parks and all this stuff.
And the social skills, that's what I feel, they really need at this age, building their social skills and just being together, with their peers, that I feel like they're missing. But we did try, to, make it fun, so because if it's fun, you'll sustain their attention longer. So
definitely, I noticed that the puppets also saved it, because sometimes they'll be coming out, and again, I didn't set rules, so I can't totally blame them for all that. But if I noticed that they were scared, I would bring a puppet up on the screen, and they would be puppet saved my life. That could be my story.
You mean Happy?
I'm happy too.
You can tell we work for the same district.
I know. After I did some videos with Happy, I'm like, wait a second. You know what I mean? I don't really own, the title Happy and all that, and but it's like I just happened to land on Happy, and
Yeah.
Happy is really, I guess kids can relate with my Happy because
I could relate when I saw it. I said, "Oh," and I didn't know you worked for the same district. We worked at the same district, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool! I'm gonna go get mine." So I didn't use Happy. I got him after I saw your video.
oh,
So
great.
I recently got him right as we were cleaning up the end of the school year. I grabbed him because of you. So thank you.
Oh, well, see, to me, that means everything. If somebody just tell me, "Oh, I watched that and I did this or I started that," to me is what makes me, that's like,
Yeah.
it means everything to me that I can help somebody. And somebody looks at me and say, "Oh, if she can do it," so I'm the greatest example. If she can do it, sky's the limit here. So I like that. You know what I mean? That people
Yeah.
feel like comfortable about, you know, this and
Oh
that.
yeah.
Um, And
Oh definitely.
Irma is here. She's saying that Class Dojo has been approved platform for next year already. Yay!
Mhm.
Anybody else would like to come out? I'll throw the stay with me. Is your name,
Okay.
how do you pronounce
Shauna.
Shana?
Uh-huh.
All right. Let me see if anybody else wants to chat with that, because that's what I think is kind of cool, is the chatting part of this.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm throwing the link if anybody else is a teacher, would like to, discuss some things, or maybe, even if you're like a higher grade, would be great to know how middle school, and in a sense, it's easier for middle school and high school, I think, because kids are more independent. And in a sense, I think it's
Yeah.
a lot harder because, I see for my son, he's like changing days and nights, and then sometimes he's not up to the class, and it's hard for them to get structure into this. The older kids too, to get used to this. All online is very tiring. You can see that
Mhm.
we're finished that Zoom. I mean, I myself, I'm super tired, a lot more than,
Yeah.
with the kids, even running around and the whole day. It's just, I don't know what it is. The technology really pulls a lot, right?
Yes, I agree. It was very draining, and I couldn't imagine doing um doing it every day. I needed that Tuesday, Thursday break and it wasn't even really a real break because
Uh-huh,
I would be preparing for the next day, you
right.
know. And just trying to, especially with the younger grades, I feel like we have to almost put on a dog and pony show
Yeah.
to sustain their attention, whereas in the upper grades, they didn't have to do that. And then we also had parents there. Like I noticed one thing I want to ask parents to do this year is to have headphones because when I popped in the upper grades, they all had headphones.
Mhm.
And I think that kind of helps sustain their attention also from everything that's going on in the background. So
Mhm.
this upcoming school year, if we're doing this again, I definitely want to ask parents um,
I'll
to
write it
to
on my
get
list
headphones.
of
To
things
get
here. Good
headphones.
one. I'm getting some, my list here because yeah,
Yeah.
it's very, very important. And also, I was thinking about almost like making them have a space. Those little demonstration boards. I was almost thinking about at one point there was a program that would donate for science purposes, but to maybe put even around the kitchen just so they can focus because it
Yeah.
was hard to focus. There were babies crying. There was
Mhm.
parents vacuuming, and there was a lot of stuff. And we're like, wait
Yeah.
a second, you know what I mean? This is,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't set the norms first. So I felt like I cannot be changing the rules of the game at this point.
Yeah.
Everybody's so, but
Mhm.
when you start the new game, I feel like, okay, I'm starting a new game. I mean, so
Mhm.
you need to kind of set these things that, this is whatever time I do with the kids. And that's why I'm debating the whole every day, because it does
Yeah.
take a lot on the parents
Yeah.
have that time scheduled
Mhm.
set with their devices, maybe their phones, to allow the kid to do every day. So that's why.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I would definitely try maybe doing it 3 to 4 days a week.
mhm,
Um, if you can, just for them too. Do you know what I mean? Because
mhm,
I had some teacher friends who went on in the morning and in the afternoon. And so I asked parent feedback at the end. I said, well, don't worry about hurting my feelings. How do you think it went? And they said they were actually happy that it was 3 days a week. A couple wanted more,
uh-huh,
but overall, the overwhelming majority liked that it was 3 days a week because they said they use those other 2 days to catch up on the assignments that I had posted.
Mm-hmm.
And so they like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to figure out what science and social studies is going to look like on here. Well, I can integrate social studies easily, but I'm thinking about what science going to look like next year because I designated Friday more so for cell, and I don't really feel like I gave them a lot of science.
Uh-huh.
I don't really feel like I did it justice
Mm-hmm.
because my focus was math and literacy and their emotional well-being. So I had to prioritize, and I couldn't be on every day. So I was like, well, what am I going to have to cut a little bit? And that was what I chose to cut it.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us in the primary grades, that's what we had to do
Right.
at my
Yeah,
school.
I was like, number one is the social part of this for them to see
Mhm.
me, and we sing the songs. I brought, calendar. I brought the little
Mhm.
bear that we dress. I brought a
Mhm.
lot of things that were familiar to them because I wanted to give them a sense of normacy. Okay, this
Yes.
classroom, you're still part of this. Here's our bear. Let's dress the bear. Let's do the kind of. So I kept my routine. But
Yeah.
again, this again is kids that I had a rapport with. I don't know
Mhm.
the new students. They have no rapport.
Right.
You know
Yeah. And
how.
when you play those songs, are they gonna know? Like they're not gonna know them. We did a lot of movement songs,
Mhm.
and at school. So I brought them at home too, and they know the song, so it was great. But what are we gonna do when these children don't know us? You
Exactly.
know,
Mhm.
yeah, it's
Well,
definitely gonna be a challenge. But we're like you said, we're teachers. We're up for it. We love it. We have a passion for it. Else we wouldn't be here.
I know we would not be here. We would totally
you know.
true. And I
Uh,
love connecting with other people that have this passion for it and
yeah.
are thinking about it. And it is part of my life. You know what I mean? I really spend a lot of time um, planning, making it better, making it more
Yes.
interesting. And I'm learning so much from you and your experience of
Oh, well, thank you. And by the way, I didn't know how to use any of this stuff prior to. My first Zoom meeting was horrible. It was horrible. I literally walked away from my computer and my husband was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I can't take it." Because I was trying to mute them, but I didn't know they could unmute themselves. I didn't know I was supposed to check the box where they couldn't unmute themselves. So they were bringing cats and dogs, and it was horrible. But I was like, next meeting will not go like this. And it was perfect. It was great after every meeting. But
right.
I didn't know how to use any of this stuff.
That
You
was a lot of learning. That was so
It
much learning.
was.
That
Did
was
your brain just feel like,
I know, and I guess that's the stuff we need to remember for ourselves, how much we grew, how much we learned, and give ourselves a pat in the back because we're very good at praising kids and praising others, but we're never like praising ourselves. And
yeah,
this was a tremendous amount of learning and
yeah,
getting ready for things that you know we did not expect. And I felt like this lack of because in school you have the people there that you can ask
right.
instead of that here you could text somebody, but it was different. It was just so out there.
Oh,
It
I
was
felt very like my stress level in the beginning, I was like, whoa. And I couldn't wait for spring break. Not really so much for the break, but so that I could learn what to do. You know what I mean? When we got spring break, because remember how it fell?
mhm.
And we had all those trainings and things like that. And so I was like, I need spring break to get here so that I could perfect this and make it better. And so that's what I used spring break for. It was not a break. It was to learn how to teach online.
A lot of that. And Irma's saying absolutely teachers really rose to the challenges presented. That's right, Irma. That
Yeah.
is this was really one thing also I'm just gonna say about that is that it helped me a lot too was and when I was talking about the fun, you know what I mean, how the kids need to know about what's the fun, that would be the reward for things or whatever. And then the thematic days were amazing. I noticed that on the thematic because the last week of school, I said, oh, I'm gonna make this week really fun
Mhm.
leading up to our culmination that was the rainbow party. And then I was doing like the pajama day. And then one day I said, okay, let's go into like, oh, let's go to the beach day. And I asked the kids to give me some ideas of things that they wanted to see, but they don't really have that many ideas. But I guess some said the crazy hair or whatever.
Oh yeah.
it. And that day when we said the beach one, it was so amazing because each kid brought something different
Mhm.
for this adventure that we're gonna have, and some had food, some had the umbrella and the beach toys, well, and then we start talking about everything. So it elicited a lot of language. So I noticed that on that
Yeah.
came up a lot, and then we
Mhm.
pretended we're going, and we did this whole imagination, and I was like, oh wow, imagination is really important, and the kids really liked. So I made myself a list of things like, going to the zoo or the farm or a circus or a storybook, and having them dress up like, oh,
Mhm.
it's a storybook, dress up as a character that you like. And
That's a great idea.
Disneyland, Magic Land, Fairyland, fire station, supermarket, park. I don't know. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
every week I might come up with one that we dressed up, and then also have these special days like, the pattern day. Everybody wears the
Mhm.
pattern, or the, I don't
Or
know.
color day. Everyone wear red today, or everyone wear blue today, or
Yeah,
something like that.
definitely. I'm gonna start with the
Mhm.
color day, and then for them to learn the colors and all.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that it was making the kids excited, and it was making
Mhm.
me excited too. Because after a
Mhm.
while, it's like, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, and now
Uh-huh.
today's crazy hair. Oh my gosh, what am I gonna do with my hair? Blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
So I guess that's part of it, to somehow, bring some fun into this. I
Oh
also
yeah.
step into the virtual tours. Did you do any virtual
You
tours?
know what? I did not, but on our last day, we did. I let them wear sunglasses because it's summertime now. So
Mhm.
they wore on our last virtual meeting. We did sunglasses, and then I showed them the Disneyland fireworks show. Not the whole thing because it was too long,
Uh-huh.
but that was sort of like their
Field trip.
last little hurrah was I showed them the fireworks from Disney shared it on YouTube. So
Mhm.
I shared that with them. And we did a snack and chat. So we did one meeting where it was, and I told them no liquids, but because usually you don't have food around, your devices, but that day was the exception. And we did a snack and chat. And I got the idea because the parents were just letting them eat their English muffins and things like that. And I was like, next year, that's something I'm going to say is to like not to eat their breakfast before because I didn't have my first meeting till 9 o'clock. So I felt like they went to 9 o'clock or they went to 10 o'clock. They really should have had breakfast by then and not been eating it on camera.
That's
But
the thing.
I'll yes, but I didn't set that up because
That's one thing about the rules that I didn't set it up.
exactly.
When I was seeing people eating or grooming, there was a lot of like, let me pull your hair, and I'm like, wait a second. Then I mean, we're here for 1 hour and 10 minutes. Can this grooming be done before or after this?
Exactly.
Those
Yes.
rules I definitely, that's going to be the what I'm going to talk to the parents about.
Mhm.
This is, it's not supposed to be serious, like, oh, it's serious. No, it's learning and it's fun,
Right.
but it's like needs to be, kind of like respectful, because I felt a little
Yeah.
bit disrespected, like, oh my god, you know
Mm.
what I mean? Like, come on, this is
Yes.
for this or
Mhm.
that, or whatever it was. So
Mhm.
I guess there's more like, the rules so important, and I wanted to have a cool poster that I haven't done it yet, and I might be looking to see if teachers pay teachers or whatever, to see if people made something like that with some.
They have because I already bought it. I
Really?
bought one already. They have Zoom um norms or Zoom rules or something. And I already bought one. Some were free. I did see one that was free.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
they even made like something for calendar already for Zoom, like where you can just share your screen
Uh-huh.
and you can to do calendar. I was like, wow, these teachers are amazing. Teachers pay teachers in Pinterest and YouTube saved my life
Oh,
on this
totally.
on this right?
And the thing about the calendar is good because you see, I have glare on my thing. You can see, and then I would be doing the calendar, and then there was a lot of glare. And I tried to put lights. I tried to do, regular light coming. So maybe if it's something that I can share on the screen about calendar, because calendar is really great for younger kids to learn the
Yeah.
numbers and counting, and
Mhm. Well,
even.
it's created, so I can't remember who I bought it from, um, but you can find it. It's not that hard. Or if you want, I can email it to you. I could probably find you on our district email, right, and send it to you if you want.
the teachers pay teachers. You
Yeah, the whoever I bought it from, their calendar, whatever it was.
keep in touch. That's what I want you.
Yeah. Well, we can find each other because we'll, on the Outlook, whatever it is our district uses, the Outlook.
Yeah, I also am on Instagram. Do you have Instagram?
I have no social media. Like, this is a big deal for me to be on here because I don't
No,
like
not
post or,
social.
yeah, I'm not really one for like social media or
Well,
anything. I'm usually very private. So this is a big deal that I'm even like
well,
on here with.
I'm so grateful that you're here. Hold on, heart. I'm so grateful that you're here because it makes it more exciting for me too to
Yeah.
be talking to somebody, and I guess for the viewers too. So you have to look for me then, because I'm on Instagram. It's just DJ Silene on
Okay.
Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm Silene Corn, which is my name. So just look for me because I would love to keep in touch and
Okay.
how things are going and all that.
Okay.
And,
Is this your last name? This is Silene Corn. So if I could probably find you on the district email.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay.
You
Okay.
can find me there on the district thing. And I think there I'm Corn, um, which is pretty cool, like how my name worked out with my district email. And let me see if there's anything else, because we've been here for quite a bit, and I don't know if anybody else wants to share anything else. Or am I saying thank you, Shana, for being present today? I learned a lot from you. See, you're already getting some feedback from.
Oh, thank you.
Isn't that bad when people, get we
Yeah.
there and feel like we help each other, and that's terrific. And yeah, I think I went through all my beautiful notes. And so again, if people want to go into the community on my Instagram and type anything and hook up with people, give ideas. If they haven't talked, they're shy, whatever, want to give more ideas, that'll be a great place to do it. There's also later on there's going to be comments on this video if people want to comment or say anything. And then I just want to remind people that Wednesday we're going to be doing Class Dojo with Deborah. She's going to show us, give us a tour and answer questions. And then it's going to be Google Classroom on Thursday. She's also going to show us and give us ideas. And if anybody else have any ideas would like to talk about, this is kind of like our rec room. It's open. If people want to come up with a topic, we can discuss and have a place to meet like that. And it's just opening like to a very informal way of, discussing, talking, sharing. So that is kind of like that. So anything else, any final words? Before you say the final words, I want to thank you so much for coming and,
Thank you.
us, being, on camera. I know it's hard the first time, but you got a taste for it. It's like sushi. You never want to stop. No, I'm joking. But so much. This has been, so much better. We made it so much better, and everybody that came today made it so much better for being here. And and that's what we do.
You. Yes, we help each other out. That's why we're teachers.
Doing because we do it for the kids.
Yes, we do. Thank you so much for having this. And like I said, I learned from you, and I found you just because I wanted to know what other teachers with younger children were doing.
How did you find me on?
I Googled on YouTube because I Googled things like, I don't know, Zoom with younger children or kindergarten. I was just Googling things like that. And that was how I found you, because I wanted to know what the younger grades, were looking like, what they were doing.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah. You watch my last video with Happy. I found I was walking in my neighborhood and these days, and I found there was a tree with little houses and it had a little sign saying the village of Magic Tropolis. It was like this little village that these children made. And I was so enamored by it. I wrote a letter and I said, can I please put a house in your village? And I got an answer on the tree the other day. And then and I wrote to the mayor, and the mayor answered, and it goes into this huge story. And I'm already on chapter 3 of the story. So there's part 2 and part 3 that's going to be released today or tomorrow. And it's a fabulous story of, this wonderment and child play. And
Oh, that sounds awesome. I will definitely check it out.
I told them that we're going to, I'm going to put a school in the village. So I want, so the third chapter is me making it. And today I'm going to take it there probably this afternoon and finish filming this third part. But part 1 and 2 are already there. So it's kind of like so just check it out. Happy's with
Oh, yes, definitely. All of this is because of the pandemic. I've never seen so many children outside playing.
Exactly. And to me, I feel like if I put this on and my students watch it, maybe they say, hey, I want to make a village. Hey, I want to.
Yeah. And creative, just let their creative juices flow. Yeah.
So that's why I'm putting it on to see if I inspire somehow,
Yeah.
I mean, and just make the best of it and use the imagination and just have fun. So
yeah. Well, I'll be watching.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It is really very, very cute. Anyway, so I'm going to, since we've been here for an hour and a half, and again, viewers don't want to take their time. They've already, giving me a lot of time, and I really appreciate all this. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, and enjoy your summer. And I'll be back on learning. Bye-bye.
Anytime you want to come, you'll have a standing invitation.
Oh, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, everybody. So this was it for today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something from this broadcast. I hope you like to come and share again. Within the community, if you like to share, look me up, send me an email. If you like to talk about something, are you an art teacher? Are you a middle school teacher? Do you have some ideas you want to talk about? Whatever you like to talk about. This is kind of like a rec room again. Come on in, let's talk, let's discuss, let's be together, feel that you're loved, that you're appreciated. Teamwork. Teamwork makes the teamwork, and I feel so much better and so much more ready to continue this beautiful journey. And we have the best job in the world. We can make a big difference. And I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna cry. I guess I'm emotional right now of having, kind of here and helping us and all the beautiful comments and everything. So before I start crying, let me go. And just keep going, guys. Just keep going. We're doing it for the kids. Bye. See you later. Bye bye. Bye bye.